to my channel. My name is Mburu, and I'm so stoked that you guys are here. Not after 2, but after 3 weeks. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for your patience. Thank you to everyone who reached out when I put out the post of not being able to put out a video last week. There's just been, or maybe it's actually going to be after 4 weeks. I'm not sure. But you know what? Thank you just still to everyone who's really reached out. Just checking in to see what's been going on. It's been, well, nothing hectic family-wise. I think just needed a bit of a break to sort some personal issues out. Personal, as in Mburu. Me, Kamini. Yeah. So yeah, but anyway, as promised, today I'm having my husband, my special guest today. So this is my husband, Mr. I was going to call him Mr. Mburu. This is my husband, Jose. And I just want him to introduce himself, and then we can take it from there.
My name is Joseph Mburu Mwangi, and married to Mburu. This is my beautiful and lovely wife. And I am born again. I love Jesus as my personal savior, and I'm a Jesus fan.
Oh.
Yes, baby. And I work at Karen Community Church. I've been working there since 2016, and that's why I do youth ministry. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Cool. If I really can just say something about you, I think there's no one who's really supported my ministry. Of course, they've been tests and trials, but you've really supported. Guys, English. Please just pray for me to learn this English.
Okay.
But ninasema ya kwamba you've really supported this me doing this, and I'm really grateful. He's the one who'll be like, okay, have you recorded your video? How can I help you? Let me check out how to edit. If, for example, the guy who's been helping us, Titus, is not able to help us record, so he's like, okay, how can I help you? He's just really been phenomenal, and I just want to say thank you in front of the peoples.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you so much, and God really bless you and extend your territory.
Yeah.
So not last week, but the last video I shared just about a miscarriage story.
Yep.
And I really was going through YouTube, and I was finding like there's no resources, a lot of resources for men. And I thought maybe you can also share your perspective on what really was going on.
Yeah.
And just a male perspective on the whole issue.
Yeah.
So feel free. So I want to ask you, I shared my bit on what was happening.
Yeah. And
then, yeah, just the way everything went down. So I just want to ask you what was happening from your view. Me, I shared my view. So what was happening from your view? But before you share, guys, disclaimer, if you hear, what are they called? Just cars passing.
Noises.
Yeah, noises. It's okay. Just, we are still growing. So we live, as I say, we live like right near the road. Yeah. So that cars just flying by. So forgive us and extend grace, and we're still trying to do better. We are growing with every video. So yeah, so anyway, back to Jose. So what was really going through your mind, or what happened from your perspective?
It has taken I think a few months since last year, December, and I think what I would say is I think coming to terms with what happened. And number one, it was hard, if I would say, because again, like men, we don't really express our emotions outwardly. Sometimes we want to hide them, and we don't want to talk about issues. So what I would say is 6 months down the line, after getting married, after taking this girl, and we got married, and then down the line we get pregnant, and then it happens that we have to terminate the pregnancy. For me, that was a shocker, because what I felt is coming to try and gather my emotions to understand what was happening. I really felt like for me that was a trying time, really trying. My faith was tested. In terms of the other things that have been happening in my life, in terms of being a Christian and being saved, they seem to be external, but this one looked like it is
Yeah,
more
so
internal.
personal.
It's so personal, and I felt like God, God hit me a blow, and my faith was really tested because I felt like, hey God, man, tumekaribiana sana, yeah,
Nimekupea
pushed
kila
me hard.
kitu,
Yes,
hizi
I've given
sky.
you, I've served you, I've been praying, like we started praying for our children a long time ago. I was praying personally before even we got married, and she told me how she's been praying for our children and how she's been praying for healthy pregnancies and full-term pregnancies, and the same way I've been praying for those kind of things and for our family. And then this happens. I think for me, before we even share about how we went through the experience, I would want to say I felt really tested, and I felt like really God had left me aside because I didn't get to understand why us to go through a miscarriage. Yeah.
Cool. So I just want you to take us through you hearing me in the bathroom crying, to us going to the hospital, just briefly. I already gave the synopsis, summary, but you're just giving us maybe just from your view, like now you've left your wife, who just just everything that was going from us getting to the hospital, and just from your side.
We just get home, and that evening, I think we came a bit late, home a bit late. And so we just came normally, getting into the house, and then we need to do a couple of things that before we sleep. So we went to prepare juice, which we were trying to raise some money for, a teens camp in our church. So we prepare some items and stuff. As Sony shared, what happened is she went to the washroom and I heard her scream. So me, I left the mangoes in the sink, and I left the blender there, and I ran to check what was happening, because for me that was not a normal thing, and it was not a joke. The way you would joke with each other in the house, so that was serious. So I jumped in and I went and found her there, and she was screaming and crying and saying, you see. I think not my baby, my baby, my baby, my baby. That's what you are saying. And then what happened is the first instinct is just, take the medical cards and stuff that you need to go to the hospital. So, and then I carried her to the car, and then we had to rush to the nearest hospital. So when we get there, I felt really mad to this guy, this doc, who we entered, and then after they had checked, is it registration or that card? And then we find him on the computer, and I'm talking to him, and it's like he's not even concerned. Then my wife was lying there at that hospital bed. Then he checked, and then he said, I think you just need to go back home, and then probably you can come tomorrow morning, because we don't have, is it ultrasound?
The technician
yes,
had
the
gone.
technician. So what happened is, I just felt, no, we can't go home. Then my wife, because at that point I was also panicking, but you see, you can't show that you're panicking. Sometimes you just need to be strong, because she's the one who has panicked more. So you need to be strong.
One of you has to be sane.
Yes, and you need to make things work. So what happened is, of course, I called my senior pastor to share what had happened. Of course, he's our dad. We love him, Reverend. Yes. So what happened is, we called him, and then he told me, we just follow up. We go to the next hospital, and that's not a normal thing. And then, of course, his wife, now mom, told us that is not a usual thing. When it comes to babies and pregnancies, don't take chances. You go. You better be there. And
there's nothing wrong.
Yes,
I kept saying that.
So, of course, driving all the way down to Nairobi Women. Nairobi Women's Haliga. Adams.
Sorry for Nini, but it's the truth.
Yes, we had to go there. We called our friend, and then we of course had to do the process, of getting checked, and then of course the hard news came that we needed to terminate the pregnancy. Of course, I was there and standing strong for my wife, holding her hand. She was squeezing my hand so tightly, and yes, yeah. So that's what I can say. And then it was a long process the whole night, even including her being taken to the ward?
Oh yeah.
The ward, and then the following morning they will do the procedure for her. So early in the morning, around, is it 4? I think I came from the hospital.
You left to go?
I left, yes, to go home. Went, and then when I got home, because those mangoes would have spoiled, I think that's what kept me busy. So what I did is I continued doing it to keep my mind busy. I think many people do that.
Yeah.
They go on it's called what?
Yes, I don't know. Just make yourself busy.
Yeah, you make yourself busy. Yeah. And then I called our best couple. The Sundays. Yes. Then I told them what has happened, and so I just asked them to pray, and I think that helped us. Thank you guys for praying. Yep. And then so I finished, and then I called mom. Called your mom, and then so I didn't want to tell mom at night. I just decided to call her in the morning. So then we met. Then we came to the hospital, where we were there with her sister-in-law and her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so, it's just funny when you mentioned about not wanting to call mom, because I think for me now, as I said, we're just 5 months married, not yet 6.
Yeah.
Get those
dates
right.
6.
There were 5.
No.
Anyway, it's okay. It's okay. They never know this dates.
June, July, August, September,
you see
October,
how he counts?
November,
he counts June.
December. Actually, there are 7.
Not 7. Anyway, but so I think for me, just going back to that, your whole life you're used to, if something happens, you call your mom immediately, my mom or my dad. And so for me, I'm thinking, let me call my mom, and my husband is just like, no, don't, not yet. It's not your time to call your mom. I'm like, I don't care what time of the night it is, even if it's midnight, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Me, I'm calling my mother, I'm going through hell here.
Yeah.
What do you mean don't call your mom? So it's so interesting, in as much as you've left and you're leaving and cleaving, you're with someone.
Yeah.
I think just that your normal response is, in my mom, I've always found comfort.
So that's what you've been used to.
I guess so. And then this is the first trial that you're having,
Yeah.
where I have to depend on a new human.
Yes.
And then this new human is not cuddly, and him is stoic, and he needs to do things, but he's sensitive and he's feeling you.
Yeah.
But Sika mom,
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for my mom, by the way. But at the same time, I'm grateful that I think also this taught me to really live and cleave and really cleave to you. Yes. Yeah, which was really awesome. Thanks for sharing. So anyway, one thing that really happened that we've not talked about yet on the channel is so this procedure happened on Sunday, and you are going for a camp. You are facilitating a camp.
Yes.
So yeah.
Actually, this happened on Saturday night from around is it 10 p.m. But the next day on Sunday, which is the procedure happened around 9 a.m. Then we were in the hospital the whole time. Actually, that Sunday I was supposed to be preaching.
Yes.
So we had to reschedule and tell our senior pastor to preach in the youth service, so that I would be away, because again I needed to be with my wife. And then the following day on Monday, I was supposed to go for this rites of passage camp. We call it ropes camp, and it was supposed to happen for a whole week. And being in charge, I needed to take these young men and women for this experience. And then here, my wife is in the hospital. So what happened is, and I think for me this was the biggest lesson. Though it came in a roller coaster, like a roller coaster, a roller coaster. Yes, guys. Yeah. I think this was the biggest lesson. Babe, stop laughing.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Anyway, the lesson was that I think this was the first test, but also in form of a lesson, that she has to come first. She's my first priority. It's easier to say it than to do it. And at that point, it was like, you're used to, doing things. So it was like, I call my mother-in-law, so Sonny's mom, she goes with her at home, and then I will go away for ministry. See, power
Build
for
the
ministry,
kingdom
build
of
the
God.
kingdom of God. And I didn't know that was actually the most dangerous decision that I made at that point. And what happened is, of course, early morning on Monday, I was in the bus going, and of course, my head was still running through everything that happened from Saturday, and I'm still here. Of course, just telling God, please help us, please help us. But at the same time, you're praying, but really, you're not thinking about your praying. You're just praying because it's an instinct. And for me, that's what I call, prayers that are not intentional, or prayer that are not honest prayers or open prayers. So yeah, authentic prayers. You're just praying because it's a natural.
That's what you do.
Yes, a natural thing as a believer. But so what happened is I went to the camp the whole week, and then of course I was calling her and getting to know how she's doing. She was with mom. Something that never crossed my mind is I never realized that I needed to be there physically, even if I was there with her, as we say, in the spirit, or we were one. But being there, I was also going through my own situations, of wondering, so what happened? Is it that I'm the problem? What is happening? I think for me that was the biggest thing. And I was, at one point, I was even blaming myself. I was wondering, did I take care of my wife well? Is there something that I didn't do well? Is there something that I would have done better? All those questions were crossing my mind. And of course, I didn't tell anyone. And
no one even bothers to ask.
Yeah, I think
especially men.
Yes.
Yeah, men.
Was there to the, what's strong? That's what guys do. You just be strong. Yeah, and you try to try and bring other activities so that you don't deal with the issue or with the situation. So went there, and my friend, there's a friend we usually do the camp with. We did with him, and I didn't tell him at all. I didn't tell him because I knew if I tell him, he's going to send me home. That's what he usually tells. He told me later that after I told him, because he's a friend and I trust him. So he told me, if you had told me that day that's what you experienced, I would have sent you home immediately. So I told him, it's okay. I knew you also needed strength here, so I decided to just keep calm and then get to try and understand what was happening.
Yeah, I think for me something that was really difficult in that season is we had 2 camps back to back.
Yeah.
So he's going for ropes camp. He's gone on Monday. He's come back on Saturday. We have Sunday. On Monday, we were off for another camp.
Yeah.
So the Monday one is now the teens church where he serves as the youth pastor. So we were going for the teens camp. And so for me, I think something that was really raw for me was, okay, as per the Sunday nights now before he goes for the first camp, I'm like, there's no option. There's no one else who can do this. So I release you, you go,
Yeah.
Then when he's come back, like brother looks like he's fine.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm the one who's been, that you're trying to be strong.
Yeah.
I think for me that was also my thinking. Like I'm really holding fort and being strong because I know you're away and there's nothing you can do. But I think my expectation was like you're away, when you come back, we come back to grieving. Then when sweetheart is coming back, and then it's like there's nothing, like nothing happened in the past week. Like he's been fine. There's been no problem. And so I think I assumed that, but it was really tricky. Even going for this other camp, and I actually, in retrospect, I really think I shouldn't have gone for that teens camp because I was a hot mess. Man, I was a hot mess. But I don't know. What do you think we could have done better in terms of communication? Because I think for me, I was looking at you and I'm thinking, he seems fine. Like you're okay. You're okay. You're going on with everything. Me, I'm just, no, we need time to just sit down together and talk. So he's come from Ropes Camp. He's come on Saturday night. Saturday night, it's time to sleep. I'm from having a bridal chat for my friend. He's from we're tired. He's tired. It's time to sleep. Sunday morning, we're waking up. We have to be in church by 7:30. By 7:30. We're finishing church at like 3. The next day, we're off for camp. There's no time to really So for me, I'm thinking maybe he'll just think, okay, no, let's sit down and talk. No, sweetheart is here. Like he has to get like things done. So what do you think really we could have done better, or what is something that you learned from that season that going forward? If not just this type of thing happens again, but anything happens, that it would really build a relationship.
I think for me, right now I can say it well, because now I understand what was happening. I think instead of reacting to what was happening, I think we should have, is it a response, a good response, and just trying to listen to one another and trying to hear from the other person's perspective. Because like myself, I was feeling, why are you quarreling me? You're not the only one who has lost.
You told me that
both of us are hurting. It's only that she didn't know that I was bottling things up, which was actually the wrong thing. And I will encourage guys, most of the guys bottle things up. Please don't bottle things up. Please communicate. Say them as they are. Try your level best to communicate them. Some usually say over communicate, and I usually remember that word a lot. So it means at that point I needed to tell her this is what I was going through. Like I've said, I was going through the moment of asking myself very many questions, like God, why would you do this? Secondly, what did I do wrong? What would I have done better? And I was also like, trying to cover myself or deal with the issue at a personal level by trying to do activities. And I didn't know there are points you need to switch gears. At that point, I needed to switch back the gear of ministry and push on the gear for family. And I think that's what we need to know. The guys who, especially in ministry, but also even at a personal level, maybe you're in the corporate area and you need to know how to switch these gears. Because for me it was like, this one has to be done. And like I would say, I like things when they're done well. And especially when I give my heart into something, I do it to my level best. And sometimes I tend to put the whole mantle on myself, like the whole.
So delegation is not a big thing for you.
Yeah. So delegation also becomes a hard thing, and I think that's a lesson for also leadership.
Even for me, I struggled with that.
Yeah, and now I can speak it because from that experience, I can be able to speak openly and share. And then what happened is, so we had that clashing, the conflict, and it was really bad, really bad. We are talking about 6 months down the line, and you have this.
5. Where are you adding?
Okay, 5 months, guys. Yes, down the line, and you have this big thing. And of course, what I would say is, I think God brings different challenges and tests for various people according to how He knows they can handle. So for you, it may be a miscarriage. For us, it was a miscarriage. For you, it may be
being
another.
From
Yes. Actually, other people, it may even be one of the partners cheating. Other people, it may be, probably the other partner getting sick, or even both of you going through a really traumatic situation. Yeah, but you have to be able to understand that though what you're going through and whatever may come, that this may come in form of a test, in form of God's lesson, if I would call it that way.
I think for me, one of the things I would say, just when you're speaking, it's made me realize, I can't put just 2 things. I think just as you're speaking, that's what really hit me. I can't put my healing in another human being.
Yeah.
So I can't put the responsibility of someone, like my healing and my being understood in someone else.
Yeah.
So for me, I felt, when Jose comes back, he's the only person who will get what is happening to me.
Yeah.
He's got it. Then he comes back and he is not on the same, or maybe he's in the same wavelength, but his way of dealing with it is different.
It's different.
So it was really testy for me because I'm like, no, but you need to be the one who is my saving grace.
Yeah.
You're my saving grace. You're my saving grace. And I realized, I said, this guy, he really can't help me. Like he's not, and it's not like it's in a bad way.
Yeah.
But he really can't help me because he also has his own struggles he's going through. There are things going through his mind, and I honestly never even thought the thought that was going through your mind was, is it a you problem? And maybe that's something that men actually question themselves when things like this happen. Like, okay, is it my sperm that is not strong enough?
Yes.
Did I do something wrong? When she maybe said she was tired, did I not listen? And then also, I think, because for us it's more physical and emotional, for you guys it's mostly emotional.
Yes.
So once you deal with it, you're fine. But for us, there's just like a mark that stays there. So if I keep putting my whole hope and trust in you, I really am in for a rude awakening. And it really was a rude awakening. But I think the other thing I'm seeing from you is it's important to learn your spouse's non-verbal cues. So for me, I think if I look, like now when I'm looking back at that December, you are not Jose. You are Jose, but you are not yourself. And I think maybe just because I wanted a specific response out of you, and I was not getting that specific response, like verbal, I was like, you're not feeling it. But if I actually am honest and I look, I'm like, hey, baby, he was not himself. He really was not himself. He was more testy. He was more like withdrawn, but he has to do his work. It was really tricky. And now I'm learning from it. That's really good. I think something that was really interesting for me in this season is when I was talking to my aunt, Auntie Sue. Hi, Auntie Sue. She watches. So Auntie Sue told me something, and I think what she said was, sorry, there's a car passing. Right, and the birds chirping, don't worry. But Auntie Sue said, whenever you go through tests and trials as a couple, it is really important for you guys to actually sit down and have a plan that if anything ever goes wrong, this is going to be our response to the situation. So so this first one was, we were just like feeling through the water to see what to do. But after Auntie said that, I remember I came to you and I was like, hey babe, I think we actually need to sit down and discuss do better, like how we can what would be our response if something else like this happened, or something unexpected happened. It may not be another miscarriage, but maybe like just bad things happen in this life, so, or even good things, by the labda mimi nitaitwa niende America,
praise the Lord,
so what are two things you would say that really for you we sat down and agreed on?
Because of course we when we were talking, after the experience, the miscarriage experience, I remember you said I was not present. I was not present when I came back, and even when we tried to get a day out or even two, and just be able to be together, cry with each other, try to talk about what had happened, and that never happened until later on. So for me, out of my head is active presence.
Okay.
Active presence in terms of not just being there, you're just present here physically, but you're not present with that person in terms of emotions, spiritual, all those things. Mentally, you are there, you should be there. They can feel you. And it's both ways. Because even for me, when she became more present, even to try and understand why is my husband responding this way, I was able even to open up and share with her, and I felt like, wow, she had so much peace now that she's not even troubled anymore, because she's feeling like, now I understand that my husband and I are in this together. He's not running away. And then secondly is shifting the gears. I didn't shift the gears because I just continued with gear 2. The gear 2 was ministry. I didn't remember that I need to shift back to gear 1, which is family and my wife. At that point, and then this one will still say, as much as you're pursuing other things, including things that are so even close to God, including ministry or doing other things,
serving God
career faithfully. Yeah, remember, this one is your first ministry at home, family, your wife, your spouse, and your children, and those that are close to you. That's your first ministry, and those are the people that even know you better, and those are the people who will receive you if your boss, decides to it's time. You need to go, or when things go wrong. At that point, I didn't understand that. I just assumed, it's said out there, but applying it was difficult, and that's why I continued. Even I carried her to camp. We went, and she was all there, and I was also trying to feed myself with all these other activities. And the camp was, as much as the guys were enjoying, but for us it was hell. Let me just say that. It was very, very bad, because we were not enjoying. We were just trying to have conversations. My wife was crying all the time. And
all the time.
Let's just say, babe, it's okay, because of what was happening in that season. Because again, when you're seated together, you can't even talk about anything, because myself, I'm feeling like,
anything you say.
Yes, still those things that are still hindering me, and of course Sony crying, and it's not that crying of just crying, but because she cannot even be able to express the emotions that are in there, but to just cry, and that was okay. So what happened is, we needed to agree on those things, and for me those two things came to my mind.
Actually, it was really awesome that we actually had that discussion, because a month after that, about a month, 2 months, in January, we faced one of I was just like, that season, I was just like, Lord, are you for real? Are you for shizzle? We lost one of our dear aunties, my mom's sister, who was more like a sister to me than even an auntie, and it's someone, even the week before her passing, we'd spent 2 weeks before her passing actually. We spent time with her. She used to encourage us in ministry. She used to encourage us in marriage, as single as she was. This used to encourage us to really know and love the Lord. And so losing her it was
another blow.
It was a big blow.
2 months later or 1 month later?
Like from the day of the miscarriage, it was actually 2 months later. It was 2 months later.
Exactly.
And so it was so important actually that the discussion we'd had prior about this shifting gears and
Yes.
all that,
Yeah.
like it really came in handy because
Yeah.
my husband was,
Mm.
hey, you are pleasant in a way I didn't even know
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that would be a tidbit to share with people, that you need to
Yeah.
communicate with one
Yeah.
another. This is
Yeah.
what, if anything like this happens again,
Yeah.
this is what I would need for you,
Yeah.
from you.
Mm.
And also for me now, I'm just
Yeah.
hoping that if anything, God forbid,
Yeah.
but we're in this life and things will
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, things will
If
happen.
something would happen
Yeah.
to you
Mm.
personally,
Yeah.
then I would be able to stand with you like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
right. How do you feel? The last question I think I'll ask
Mm.
you
Mm.
is, how do you feel like grief is different
Yeah.
for men than women?
Yeah.
Because we're having a lot of, I don't know, like everyone, even for me, the women that I would speak to, and I was going through this, and I was like, my husband is not understanding me.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, no, honey, that's how they usually are. That's how they usually are. And I'm
Mm.
like, me, I'm not content with that answer.
Yeah.
I think I really don't want us to settle for just like, that's just how men are.
Mm.
I know
It's
we
not,
can,
it's
you
not,
know, okay, maybe it is how you just wired. But why do you think, how do you think grief is different for men than women?
Yeah.
And then why do you think it's like that? And what can we do, especially in relationships, marriages, to really deal with grief well together?
I would say, I think not very many people who, or especially men, my friends, or the ones that I know, somebody called and asked, how are you feeling, or what is happening, how have you dealt? I think it's one or two I can remember that we were able to sit and face each other, and they're asking me, so you went through miscarriage, how are you feeling? Like not, trying to go eat nyama choma and then you're happy and then you go back home and you go feel the same pain that you are feeling. No, this is somebody who asked me, so my friends, what kind of things are you experiencing deep within? How are you dealing with this together with your wife? And for me, that I felt like that was relieving. But at the same time, I would say it is good to just ask those questions and ask them honestly. Don't even, how are you? How are you is
I think you'll always be fine if someone asks you how are you. Me, I always tell people that as well.
Yes.
I'm like, if you just ask me how are you, I'm like, I'm fine.
I usually
ask me specific things.
When I ask people, as in ministry or even as a pastor, you ask somebody how are you, and I tell them, please don't give me church answers, because church answers are
blessed be the name.
Yes, I'm good, the Lord has been good to me, but actually
still on the throne.
Yes, your pocket is actually doesn't have even 50 bob, and you're saying it's good to say it's well, yes, if you're sure really the Lord has got you.
Then you can prophesy and call things that are not as though they are,
but if you know that it is not okay, just say it is not okay, so that even begin to pray. Genuinely.
That's good.
So for me, I would say, as men, or now I understand better, that I will not just ask somebody, so how are you doing? I will just go direct, and especially if the person has allowed, you just go direct and ask the person. So you are involved in a certain deal and it didn't go well. So how are you in relation to that? And allow them to open up. I know it's like people say, and Sonny has alluded to it, that men are just like that. No, but I think men who have been liberated by Christ, I think the Lord gives us the strength to be able to open up honestly to men who also have been liberated by Christ, and these men hold us accountable, and they pray with us and they encourage us. So for me, that's what I can say. The Lord helped me, and this one I can also share, that even as a minister, my mentor was telling me that probably God took you through that situation, that you can be able to know how to encourage your congregants and people when they go through situations, of course, I didn't understand why he was telling me that, but I was getting, in a way, that God may take you through situations sometimes that you can be able to understand with, to understand some people when they are going through situations and be able to encourage them.
I don't know about that
yeah.
school of thought, but
Yeah.
that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
It really is. I would not
Yeah.
think that a good God, he can turn things around to work for your good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a good God would be like, let me take this child so that these two pastors can know how to minister to other people. I don't think God is like that. Oh, that's just my enemy, but I mean, I will still read the Bible and spend time with the Lord and ask. But I don't think God is like, what is the best way that my children can minister to? It's if they go through it. Let me take them through the craziest thing they've ever gone through so that they can minister to others. I don't think so. I think though that God will be like, he's seen it. He was present when everything was happening, but he'll be like, this will turn into a testimony. This test, I'm going to turn it around, and it's going to be a story that will bring liberation to others. I don't know.
I understand. He shared that you remember, I think there was this man who was, is it born blind? Or I can't remember well the story, but and then the disciples asked, who sinned that this man was born this way? But Jesus responded that this person is this way because God wants to show his glory through his life. And you're wondering, so God did this so that this person may be this way, so that God's glory may be seen. Very, 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 very big story. And so that's where he was alluding to it. Of course, if alluding to God being, a sad God, it's not good, because God is not a sadist. It's only that our God is able to, is sovereign. He can choose what route to take. And I pray that that God will continue to encourage even me and even the guys that I know, that not just to ask them, how are you doing? Like a big blanket answer, but just to go direct and ask, so how are you dealing with this situation? If there is a case, if there is a situation they are going through. And I appreciated the one who asked me that. And I felt like really somebody thought about you. Yeah. So men, let's not just assume that it will be awkward if you're sitting down and I'm asking him that. That person will appreciate a lot, because deep within Palandan, we are still emotional beings.
And as much as you try to show you're not.
Yes, we are still emotional beings, and you feel really good when somebody is concerned.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm really hoping that guys are really blessed by this. Thank you for being so vulnerable. And I just want you to just pray for the men out there. Just pray for them, short and sweet. And then we can call it a day.
So let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you because of even people listening to our words and us sharing the testimony of your doing. Right now we can look back and say, indeed, this is a testimony of what you're doing in our lives. We may not have been able to communicate well to some people, but here we can be able to just express your goodness in our lives. And we just want to thank you for everybody who has been watching and listening to all these things we have been sharing, especially Sonny sharing out your word through this channel. I pray that God, you minister to somebody through this story. And I pray that you will touch their lives. It may not be a miscarriage, may be another situation or experience, but I pray that God will touch them and be present. And I pray that, Lord God, though they may not feel you, though they may not see you, but Lord God, will give them that faith to be able to know that indeed you're still holding their hands and you're there with them. We are grateful that, Lord, you are able to carry us through. And looking back, God, we can say, indeed, you helped us. And if you are not on our side, oh God, the enemy would have swallowed us alive. God, we thank you because you have held us with your righteous right hand. And today we can say thank you. We pray that we will continue to bless these viewers and these people, oh Lord God, who listen to our voice. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So guys, just as we part, remember there's no award for getting over things quickly. Remember that it's okay to take your time, but in the Lord. Take your time in the Lord and process with the Lord.
Yes.
Of course, there are times to encourage yourself out of it, but take your time to process so that at the end of it, when you're through with your process, it's a beautiful thing. It's not like you're done 3-6 months down the road and you're still back to the same place, you know? Or some may take 6 months, some years, but just take your time and process with the Lord, and I promise you He's faithful. We've seen God's faithfulness, we've seen God's just redeeming love, and we've seen God's hand, and we're so grateful. So love you guys. Mwah. See you in 2 weeks, hopefully. Bye.
Bye.
Kill 'em too.